Hello everyone, this is StehnZ. We will be covering Cultist Simulator today in an attempt to win as the Aspirant. To aspire, if you will. Well, let's get right down to it. If you enjoy this form of content, make sure to like and subscribe to this video as we explore the world of Cultist Simulator. But what's happened? Here I am, just a random person, born into this world. All I have is my menial employment. Precarious position as a hospital porter. Miserable. It's all you can find just now. Well, what can I do in my life? Well, I can work, and earn a living, practice the invisible arts. Well, we don't know any invisible arts right now, but why don't we just go ahead and head to our day job like any other person? Another shift. Mopping the darkened hallways, delivering post to hollowed-eyed invalids, trundling corpse-laden gurneys to the basement. So we begin. Work at that daily grind. But what happened? Halfway through your shift, the head porter beckons you aside. "We won't require your services any longer," he says. "Here, your last payment. We've paid you through the end of the month. I have lost my job. At least now I have a little time to rest, and my health improves." Well, now that we're not stuck in this daily job as our only life, we're able to start dreaming. What do we get? A little bit of a severance package, a couple of coins, and we have our health. You know what they say, at least you have your health. So what can I do with my health? Well, I can always spend my lifeblood on getting another job. The city needs laborers. There are places where I could go in order to work for a tiny bit of income, kind of piecemeal work, right? Why don't we see if we can spend our health here on unskilled labor, back-breaking work for meager pay. Is this the best I can do? I think it is right now. And in 60 seconds, we will complete our shift at our new, even worse job than we had before. What's happening in this dream situation? I recall my dreams. Once again, I dream of a glow beneath the filthy skin of the world, the light through the black wood, the pale door, the old man. Strange dream imagery haunts us, it seems, as we start our journey. It began when I spoke to the old man at the hospital. He knew my name. But he's dead now. The pneumonia. Why do I dream of him still? What is the cobalt light in my dreams? Now that we have begun dreaming, time is passing. So the clock ticks forward, meaning that we really need to get a job or do something in order to pay our basic upkeep, or we will suffer in destitute like so many others. Well, at least we discovered contentment through recalling our dreams. I am happy, I think, and this helps defend against dread. We also discovered our passion. Dull minds are neither intuitive or mathematical. Passion is something we will use in order to, exert our will. There's something else we could dream about. Well, theoretically, we could go to sleep at night and spend a little bit of money in order to buy some, a tincture of opium. This is risky in itself, but could help us cure an affliction that we're suffering from. For now, it seems like the better thing to do would be to dream on our passions themselves, visit the moonlit road. I know this dream. A road crests a hilltop, and the air is silver bright. I'm not convinced that we're going to get much out of dreaming on our passion, but it's something that we can do for now. And there's the moon. If I engage in an occult practice before I sleep, I might find a way to a deeper dream. Well, we don't have any of the signs of the mansis yet, so for now we'll just dream on passion and hope that something happens. Speeding up time. We're almost finished our day job. Aha! We did our unskilled labor. The day is done, and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So that cost our health. We're fatigued and tired after working back-breaking labor all day. But we were given some vitality. You know, the more you exert yourself, the healthier you feel with these things. Some just fresh exercise. And what were we given? A mere 1 coin. Entry-level employment. Not much we can do to work right now. We're just gonna sit for a bit, because if we can't spend our health on working and our passion is in use, we won't be able to work with our passion, which in Cultist Simulator means painting, making art and paintings to sell. Probably not the route we're going to go in. We're a logic and reason-based cult leader. As much as that makes sense to say. So what happened? Well, we had dreams of the rain. I dreamt of the rain, whispering in the eaves, tapping on windows like an old friend, hissing prankishly in the chimney. It is difficult to be unhappy in the right kind of rain. Ooh, dreams of rain brought contentment. But our passion is exhausted for now. We'll let our dreams sit. Something's happening here. This appeared, and we should be aware of what this is. A bequest arrives. A letter from a solicitor. The old man at the hospital, the one I dreamt of, has named me in his will. I'll hear more soon. Wow, that's wonderful. The guy that we saw from our previous day job may have a connection to our future for us. So, if we're in the will, we should be getting something arriving here shortly. But over here we have our daily upkeep going on. The unrelenting time passing along. Time, the sundial's shadow, it passes. I must have funds to live or I will become ill. And it's going to cost us money. We must pay rent. We must buy food. We must have clothing. And this is why it's very important that we find some form of gainful employment to keep our to keep StehnZ alive here. But we're able to afford our rent for today. Not like we're completely unemployed. Alright, a lot just happened from this bequest. The old man has bequeathed me a sum of money, and a packet of peculiar papers, poetry, riddles, metaphysical speculations. The first time in months. Here is some fuel for my reason. And we've unlocked study, a very important part. That's a verb that we're going to need to be taking advantage of. That's going to allow us to learn more about the world around us, because it is our intention as a cult leader to know, to walk behind the Watchman. We were given a bunch of money. Give me all that. Well, we'll just collect it later. We were also given the bequest itself, a package of papers for my correspondence executor. I must study it, using either passion or reason. Well, if we're going to study it, we're going to study it with reason. We are a reasonable man, and now we were given our reason. Reason goes with... Oops. Reason goes with passion. They're kind of opposite sides of the coin there, and both of them are attributes of our cult leader that we will have to employ in order to win. So, why don't we take a look at this bequest? Do we do it through work? Where does it go? I must study it. Well, this is study. What's going to be my approach? Well, we've already spoken to this. We're going to approach it with reason. I examine each item with meticulous care. Let's begin. Now that our health is healed, while we're doing that, we should be also going to our regular day job for spending our health. I think that's important. So we're gonna work at our regular menial job, and then when we go home at night, we'll be working on studying this package. But let's begin some more unskilled labor. And punch the clock, if you will. Speeding up time. Looking forward to seeing what we're going to get in here. Alright. We've examined the bequest employing reason. My correspondent describes my dreams exactly. They use names that are instantly familiar. The house, the wood, the hours, the glory. They knew secrets beneath time and the skin of the world. A new curiosity burns in me. There is a note here, directions to a bookshop that does not advertise its wares. Did we hear that correctly? Are we going to have access to an occult bookstore that will potentially allow us to expand our knowledge of this world within a world. Our reason is returned to us, not spent. We used it, but we maintain our intellectual capacity. The directions to that bookstore have been given to us. Cryptic directions to the obscure address of a certain moorland, a dealer in a rare sort of book. We will definitely be using this. What else happened here? Aha! This is a card that's going to be core to our being. The temptation for enlightenment. It has occurred to me that I hold the key to wisdom. So it says here that this card allows us to win an enlightenment victory if we upgrade it far enough. But this, I believe, will be our win condition. But we are supposed to... It's encouraging us to dream about it, to advance it or change it. We may want to go to sleep on this and meditate on the temptation of enlightenment as soon as possible. What else were we given? Well, in our package, there was notes on a possible collaborator. My correspondent has recorded the observations of me. He believes I had potential. He records his observations of someone else, too. With time and study, perhaps I can find this person. So there's someone out there that knows more about this that could potentially be our ally in our mission. To know, to learn, to understand what is really happening here. And lastly, a Watchman's secret. Very core to my being as a cult leader. We are obsessed with the Watchman. The lantern drives us crazy. It's been expressed like this. Each hour has its color, but color exists only where there is light. So this is a lore fragment, and this is a piece of some very sacred information that we now have, that we were able to get from our package. Is there anything to study? Well, we want to get directions to the bookstore as soon as possible. We've got money, and it would be great if we could spend some of that on acquiring rare books. But the directions to Moorland's shop are cryptic. When one deals in the kind of books my correspondent studied, one must be circumspect. Well, I agree. Let's study that and see if we can find our way to this hidden bookstore. What else we got going on here? Well, we're still working our day job. We might want to go right into dreaming about the temptation enlightenment. What's going to happen if we sleep on our potential endgame goal mission here? We should meditate on our goal of unearthly knowledge. Should I dedicate myself to my purpose or focus my efforts elsewhere? We should dedicate ourselves to our purpose, of course. Yeah, I'm seeking immortality and enlightenment in the hour called the Watchman. His touch brings particular appetites and marks. Is there anything that we can use to reflect on this? So, dedicate myself to the lore of the principle I seek, or focus my efforts elsewhere. Well, of course I want to dedicate myself to the Watchman, so let's reflect on the secret itself. I will dedicate myself to the pursuit of knowledge. This is all that matters to me. And here's that symbol arrives as we begin our journey. The journey to know. Our contentment withered away, but it protected us if dread had appeared. Aha! As time passes, we have now begun to see some events. Well, first things first, we seem to have unlocked a new verb. This is exploring. Now that I've found a location, I can explore it. We can send ourselves or other friends that we meet along the way in order to physically explore certain locations. This is going to be really important for progressing us. What did we find out of this exploring? Well, an occult scrap. Secret histories are layered beneath the one we know, like the notes in rare wine. This is a detail from one of these histories. But if we explore with this occult scrap, we might find a secret location. And that seems to be what we're going to want to do here. Let's go ahead and get this exploration ready and take our little bit of information in an occult scrap and see if we can find somewhere in this city, somewhere special that will help us. There are places in the city where I can find extraordinary things. If I can sift the clues out of history and rumor. Let's go. Now, that resolved, we also had an event appear, exotic cravings. So what hungers drive us? No matter how focused we are on our goal, we can't run away from who we are as a person, and that means a slave to our desires. We have obsessions, deeper urges. It's going to pull a card into here if there was one available. Doesn't look like there is. But we have nothing to obsess over. That's good. It means we have a pretty clear mind right now. Now, as for finding Morland's shop, by studying the little bit of information that we had from our bequeathment, if that's the correct term, an ill-lit street in an ill-favored bend in a lesser river, a soft yellow light through a grimy window. Miss Morland nods as I enter, but doesn't rise. I never ask the names of my clients, she informs me, before I have time to introduce myself. We found Morland's shop, the dim premises of Miss Morland, who deals in rare and sometimes dangerous books. All we need for Miss Morland is money. We plan to be spending a bunch of time here, spending our hard-earned cash, or our inheritance, I should say, it's not hard-earned yet, on getting books on the occult, studying them, and seeing if we can learn more about our path of enlightenment. Let's put this location down here. Is there something else we could quick study before we look at our next job? Well, think about this. There's that notes on a possible collaborator. Should we take the time to study our notes on this and see if we can meet that collaborator who will help us along the way? Yes. The answer is yes. I have a name, a description, a few tantalizing details. There are 1,000 faces in this city. There may be 1,000 faces, but we only need to find the one. Looks like we finished up our day job too. The day is done, and so am I, but I've earned my pay. We're a little tired after that, and we now have our vitality. And our funds. Got paid for that. And when we have 2 vitality, we may be able to do something with it. I am not quite sure where it goes, but I believe that if we combine 2 pieces of vitality together, we could start to become more healthy. We've been working, grinding away at our manual labor day job, and it's natural that we would get in shape, build muscle, become a stronger person simply by picking up and moving piles of garbage from one spot to another. So, as soon as we get the opportunity, I believe that we should study this vitality and try to become a healthier person. But the light dedication goes on in our dreams, and while we're sleeping on this and fully dedicating ourselves to the path of the lantern. So let's continue. Mortal frustrations. What hungers drive me? It's still looking for temptations and can't find any. We live a rather boring life at this point, and it doesn't seem like the cravings are going to be taking over for us. And there it goes. As yet, I have only the needs and desires of any other mortal. But what stirs in me? Restlessness. If we don't have any desires to pursue, we will feel restless. We will languish in our state, if you will. So we now have taken on this card. It's going to last for a good minute, and I believe if restlessness is not dealt with, it can lead to dread, which can lead to despair. Not a great card, but one that we can potentially use in a trapping. What's next? Let's get this study done as soon as possible so I can get to work on doing that exercise, becoming healthy. I pulled that card out way too soon, folks. Something happened there. Well, what happened was we met our acquaintance, right? We sent a letter to the possible collaborator. We didn't get to read it because I clicked too fast, but we're going to await an answer to that letter. And it also unlocked a new verb, to talk. Something that we're going to be needing. Of course, we have to communicate with those around us. Mystique was discovered. As we begin to reach out into the world around us, it's natural that we're going to draw a little bit of attention or notoriety. This is sort of the lighter form of notoriety. Uncanniness lingers. So it attracts the attention of hunters. Basically, people who are against the concept of the cult will be able to sense that something is up, and that's sort of what the mystique implies. But we're not worried about a little mystique. Let's get to work on studying our vitality and doing that exercise in order to become a healthier individual. I am abrim with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I will benefit. But let's get in shape. Alright, we finished dreaming on our Path of Enlightenment. I have spoken the words. Each hour has its color, but color exists only where there's light. I will go where there is light, though it bleach me to glass. I have advanced a step towards a terrible ascension. I read that a little awkwardly, but I think you all follow me. We have now dedicated ourselves to the path of enlightenment. The pursuit of higher understanding. I must seek beneath the skin, whatever the cost. This makes enlightenment victory possible. I must be a true initiate of the Mansis. I will need to work with Lantern Aspect to allow the Watchman to see me. So that becomes our goal, to actually draw the attention of the Watchman so that we may walk behind him and know. And know everything, really. I want to know it all. I want to know wherever that light shines. Now, we could try to dream on it again, but I believe that this is going to be pushing us a little closer to the win condition. We would need to work at it. We're not ready to just dream on our dedication of enlightenment just yet. Anything else that we could dream about? I think we'll let dream go for now. Take a break from all that sleeping. Work, we're going to wait on until we get a little bit more health. And for now, let's just wait for these other timers to finish. Aha! So, we've been really exerting ourselves health-wise. And it's natural that the more we go and spend all day working a tough manual labor day job and then studying all these things at night, there's not a lot of time for sleep or health. So we have become sick. A sickness. I'm unwell. So what this has done is taken our health card away from us. And as long as we have a health card to spend on sickness, we can survive the sickness. But if a second form of sickness were to cover us, and we didn't have a health card to provide for it, we would die. I'm not too worried about this, because when we finish our exercise, we're going to have a lot more health. Or rather, a second health. We've finished exploring from that scrap that we had earlier, and we found a secret place. This place merits closer investigation. It's the Cater and Hero Limited, a strange location in the city. It's been abandoned since the explosion, when both the owners died. The machine stands silent. The building is a collapsing shell. Mr. Cater was known to display peculiar trinkets in his office. Perhaps some yet remain. Wow, perhaps we'll be able to break into this place and look for some of these peculiar trinkets that will assist us in our goal. Let's make sure that we set this location aside and remember it's here so that we can visit this later. Now, we also finished talking to someone. We met our first acquaintance. We got a reply from the letter. It's courteous, if cautious. They're intrigued by how you found their name, intrigued enough to meet up. Hey, her name is Yispit, and she's a simple acquaintance right now. What do we know about Yispit? And my apologies if I'm mispronouncing her name. She's always been most comfortable by moonlight. She has excellent night vision. She's often overlooked in daylight. We might be able to recruit her as a follower. I'm sensing some strong winter aspect from this person. And we need to know all the different avenues of the occult in order to really really know it all. So I'm happy that we met Yisbit, and let's do what we can to improve this relationship beyond an acquaintance and see if we can help her to become a believer. Well, how would we get her to become a believer? How would we recruit her to our side? Well, I believe we talk. we either talk to her or we talk about... Ooh, that's not it. Do we talk to her? Together we will be more. I'm not sure if that's right. Well, either way, we'll find some way to get her involved. Doesn't look like I can really do much with my cult just yet in order to recruit her. But at least we know of this person. Would it hurt to just talk to her again? See what happens? I'm not sure what this is going to do. I have a feeling that this is trying to forge a closer relationship. I don't think there's much else that we can talk about. Let's see what happens. Found a mystical organization. Oh wow, this might be what we needed to do. What kind of cult can we have if I'm the only person in the cult? We need a second person in order to create this organization. So here's someone I might work with, a companion or follower, but first I must give them something to follow. Hopefully we'll find out what that is. Aha! Choose our founding principles. So this is really starting to get us going. Now that we've met someone else who shares our belief, we can actually begin to forge the cult that we need. Tradition and compulsion. Old, new, or both together. We add lore to this to determine our culture's founding principle. Well, what lore are we going to do? It's going to be the Watchman's secret, obviously. We're going to be establishing the Mirror of Glory. An occult society dedicated to the understanding of the light that leaks from a fiercer place. That's me. I have begun my true work. The authorities will take an interest in it. I must be ready for them. So we've begun to establish our cult, and we just need a little more time before we can recruit some more followers. Aspirant is still an acquaintance, but one day she may become a believer. One day very soon. What did we get? Notoriety. We're going to get together with some other people and talk openly about our cult. We are going to draw attention, and notoriety is that attention. Certain acts are not quickly forgotten. This will allow hunters to build a case against us. Fortunately, no hunter has really begun to chase us down, but if they were to appear, we do have some clues that we are leaving behind. And there's that dread out of the restlessness because we were unable to deal with it. But we have succeeded in exercising our body. So I've grown stronger. I've gained health, but it will be more difficult to gain health next time. We now have a stronger physique. And we have that extra health. Excellent. Well, you know what that means. It's time to get to work. I've grown strong, and I still devote my health to a day's work. So because we're stronger, we're actually going to be able to accomplish more manual labor in a shorter amount of time. We're going to be a better manual laborer. And we have arms of bronze, and let's work them. Now it only takes 55 seconds for us to be able to finish our day job, so we're able to punch out a little early. We also want to do this in hopes of getting a vitality so that we can heal our sickness once we get this health back and we're wounded. Another thing that's going to be worth doing, this is going to seem a little out of left field here, but we are a cult of reason, and we must meditate and utilize our reason to become more reasonable, to become smarter, to have better logic, to understand our goals. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we have to study reason itself. What is studying reason? It's learning about the world around you. It's reading the news. It's understanding the current events. The world is awash with printed words. Even the newspapers contain knowledge sometimes. Sometimes. The key word there. No, just kidding. Let's work on it. So let's study just the world around us and try to become smarter. Oh no! Our purpose demands we recognize truths that chill the spirit. I must give of myself. I just spent my reason on something else, so I believe we may not succeed in being able to create our cult just this second. We're going to need to come back to that with a second reason when it's time. So this could be a bit of a failed encounter. We try to start the cult, but there's just not enough time in our life to really commit to it, like so many other failed endeavors. But I may have put the cart before the horse. This could still work out without our reason, but I am not optimistic about this, because I just spent my reason on studying it to become more reasonable. I only have so much brain power I can devote to anything. We're going to be reading the news and learning about the world all day. We don't have a lot of brain power left to forge a cult this second. Aha, an event appeared for us, a trembling in the air. Sun flickers like a shadow. Dreams ripple behind the surface of mirrors. I must be careful not to drift from the waking world. Fascination. It may provoke visions. So what's this going to do? It's going to pull fascination into here. Fascination is sort of the dark side of being obsessed with certain types of disciplines in Cultist Simulator. It's definitely a routine problem for those who wish to walk in the light and learn about the lantern. If we have too much fascination, we will succumb to visions and basically lose our mind, psychotic break, and no longer be able to manage our cult. The sickness has also taken us from all that time we spent working. The illness has damaged my health. I'll have to rest before I'm fully recovered. So instead of having health, we have an affliction. It's like a useless health thing. It's basically like, I'm alive, but I'm too sick to work with anything on here. The disease has left me weak. I need rest and nourishment if I am to recover. We will get rid of that as soon as we can. Ideally with some vitality. Okay, this is just like, look, guy, we're not going to stop until you put reason in here. So instead of the event ending, it's basically saying, like, look, the cult will not get off the ground until you put your actual brain into it, buddy. So the timer just extended another 30 seconds. Sorry, Isbeth, she's sitting there waiting in a room for me to finish watching the news so that I can talk about the lantern to her. Embarrassing. Ah, we finished our day job. I finished early and got my pay, because we're a strong man. Ah, there's that vitality. We're always going to be in good shape the more we work on our manual labor, and unfortunately, it's still entry-level work, so we're not going to make a ton of money with it. But with this vitality, I believe we're actually going to be able to get a real good night's sleep and try to rest off the illness that we're suffering from. But let's dream on our illness in order to recover from it. Resting will restore me if I have the necessary resources. We could spend a gold on buying some medicine in order to heal us of our affliction, or we can simply just be healthy. Perhaps I just need a little rest. I agree. All I need now is time. Let's take it easy and get our health back. So we go to sleep on that. Quick and important. We've read whatever's at hand. The words contain knowledge, of course. Now I contain it. It is a little like theft, and a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. And that's really a good way of putting sticking our nose where it doesn't belong and learning all about things that we are not directly connected to. And what does that give us? Erudition. I soak up knowledge as a shadow soaks up light. I may be close to advancement. So if we have a few eruditions, we can study that to gain additional reason to become a more reasonable person. And this is going to be very important to our strategy with the lantern. I'll set that erudition aside. We have the reason, and where's that reason going to go? Everybody should know who's paying attention at this point. It is going to here to help us actually start the cult. Our purpose demands we recognize truths that chill the spirit. I must give of myself, and I'm now willing and ready and willing to give my reason and fully commit to this cause. My first recruit. A cult with one member is only an unusual habit. Very true. I must have a recruit. Well, who are we going to recruit? We only have one friend. We know one person. Our good old pal Yuspit from the correspondence at the beginning of the game. Welcome aboard. I will be recruiting you to join the cult. You know, it wouldn't hurt to go exploring Moreland's shop. We haven't been really leaving the house for a while. I think it would be a good idea if we were to just head on over, bring a gold, and see if we can buy a book from the bookstore that we discovered. It's going to take time to sort the gold from the dross, the wheat from the chaff, blood from the water. If I buy enough books, I'll find something interesting. We're kind of going to have to haphazardly, randomly buy books and hope that this contains a nugget of information that we're going to need to solve our path of enlightenment. Oh, let's buy a book. Anything left for us to study out here? No. We're going to wait on studying. We're also going to wait on working until we get healed up. We want this health back before we get back into the daily grind. Ah! So, time marched on, an event appeared. More exotic cravings. Do we have hunger? Do we have obsessions? Is anything going to be pulled in here? It looks like we're still operating pretty clean. The fascination also went away. We didn't suffer from any excessive fascination in what we're doing. We're still level-headed as we begin our pursuit into the cult. But the mirrors are calm. The sun is steady. The glory recedes. I am sane, if that means anything. So no fascination to drive visions? And what happened? We just received a bit of a fleeting reminiscence. A moment in time, another moment, it'll be gone. That feeling of a lost sensation that no longer is affecting us stays with us in a form of a fleeting reminiscence. What does it do, you might ask? Well, I don't know. It has some aspects. It's a tough thing to quantify this je ne sais quoi. Aha! So what is our craving? Well, it turned out to be the Watchman's light. Even in the waking hours, I've begun to see new colors. We did have a craving. It was our obsession with enlightenment itself. So all we can do is see what happens from this. I have a feeling this is going to make me fascinated. My curiosity is becoming a physical need. My eyes will be thresholds. It's almost time to perform the work and begin the changes. But I must have enough lantern aspect. So it's giving me a tip. It's saying I should explore to find more. I plan to be spending health on exploration. We are going to be walking the streets at night to see if we can encounter anything unusual that will help us in our mission. But it gives us our dedication to enlightenment back. And rather than fascination, as I predicted, we're simply restless. We haven't begun to perform the work, and that's going to make us more restless. Which, unfortunately, restlessness and dread kind of go together, and we're going to want to address this as soon as possible, either via contentment or potentially using a tincture of opium to alleviate some of the dread that we're feeling. Drugs are never the right solution, folks. But in this case, it's better than succumbing to a mental illness that would kill us. But on a positive note, let's talk of the rise, the rise of our cult. I have founded my cult. We finally had the reason that we could contribute to it. So here we go. This is a step to greater power. We're going to use our cult to recruit and promote followers. We're going to talk with followers about our cult and send them on cult business. We are above ground. We are a real thing. Yisbet is now a believer. Okay? She sleeps in, fits, and starts. She rises at dusk to do things that only Yisbet does. What is there to say about her? She wasn't a winter, as I predicted. She actually has the aspect of the moth. And the moth is a strange aspect that I would love to know more about, but it feels fairly random, and it's one that we will be exploring during this series. I knew a man who captured moths in a bell jar. On nights like this, he would release them one by one to die in the candle. So moth is wild and perilous principle of chaos and yearning. Ooh, that seems very different than the kind of reasonable approach that we're going. But perhaps opposites will attract and contribute, and this Yispet will be an important contributor to our world, to our goals. So that cost our reason, no problem, and we had to spend it on this. We got our Watchman aspect back, very important, or I should say, lore. And we got our temporary headquarters, so what kind of cult would there be if there wasn't a place for us to hide in, right? Our business is private. We need somebody somewhere secret, and this is it. It's a nondescript temporary headquarters. Could be just somebody's house, could be Yispet's house, could be my house, just a room where we will meet to discuss our business. And here is the cult itself, the card that symbolizes what we have and what we're doing, the Mirror of Glory. What we have is an occult society dedicated to the understanding of light that leaks from a fiercer place. We've talked about this before. So we're going to be able to use cults with the talk verb to recruit or promote followers. Okay, like we erroneously tried to do earlier when I kind of jumped the gun. We'll be able to send them out on errands to gather resources, and believers can be promoted to disciples. And which are just better believers, have better skills, higher level cultists. And if they're really good, a few gifted disciples can be exalted even higher to seers. That's going to be way in the future before we see anybody that powerful, but it's nice to know that that is possible. So we have the Mirror of Glory, this is us, this is our cult, and it definitely goes with all the kind of lantern-y guys will all be stacked right near each other, because this is important to who we are and what our goals are. Now, we want to be able to do something with our erudition, which means that we do need some more reason. As soon as this comes out, hopefully there will be just enough time to get our reason back, study it, get a second erudition, study both the eruditions, and get a second reason. So we're going to want to make sure that we don't use study for now. We found a book from this library, from the 1 gold we spent. What we have here is Gildersleeve's Latin Grammar. What? This is a book that will help refresh our knowledge of Latin. I believe if we study this book, we'll be able to speak Latin, and that's going to help us to decipher future books. I mean, we can't read a book for a language we don't speak. So let's find a place to stack some of the books that we're going to be getting, probably down here. And we'll set that aside. Once we have some more time to study and we're not busy learning about the world around us in order to become more reasonable, we could definitely take a time to learn Latin. What kind of cult leader doesn't speak Latin? So what are we to explore now? Doesn't look like much. We're going to wait a second till both these healths come back, and we're going to spend our health in order to explore the world. Basically, going on a long walk and expending our energy to go looking around. So we need these to kind of come up here. So there's our health back. And we should have also gotten our health back from healing. Remember, we rested with our vitality. The sick room grows close and stale. It's time to get up. We're no longer sick. We're healthy enough to get over our little bug. Okay, so with these 2 healths, one of them will be spent on work. Let's get back into that daily grind. Let's do some more manual labor. Let's make sure that we get money again. So unskilled labor, arm of bronze, go. And the other health is going to be spent in what I was just saying. We're going to spend our own lifeblood to explore the city in the search of random stuff. Search the city. Crowded thoroughfares by day, a fog-wrapped labyrinth by night. I'll walk the streets seeking secrets until I can walk no more. Let's go. We found a hireling. So while walking around the streets, we met someone. Somebody that's a little off the grid who potentially would work for a cult. Well, who are they? A bomb maker. Do we want to spend money to have 2 minutes of a potential ally for a little bit? I don't think we do. There's no specific thing that we're looking for to address, but with this bomb maker individual. Perhaps we shouldn't discuss politics just yet. Yeah, this sounds like we maybe met a head case, some kind of conspiracy theorist in a bar, rambling away about whatever. And do we want to really hitch our wagon with this person? It's not worth money. They only work for money. A true cultist works because they believe. You will not be paid. And we're just going to say, it was nice meeting you, and let you go. Now, I'm concerned if something appears that's going to draw the dread into here. But if we start to suffer from despair and dread is pulled and restlessness becomes a second dread, we will then use opium to address that dread rather than succumb to despair and die. So we have a plan if that were to happen. We do need to be cautious that we don't get too depressed here. Ooh, is it happening right now? No. It is happening. Bleak thoughts have happened, just as I said it. So, the moment that this comes out into being dread, we're going to address it, so that we don't suffer and die to these bleak thoughts. So this is bad. Restlessness will change, and we're going to make sure that we don't succumb to this. We're going to have this right on our radar and not allow us to lose our mind so early in our mission. But we should study that reason still. We do need to there will be just enough time to study more newspapers around us to get that second erudition in order to potentially improve our reason. Once we become a very reasonable individual, we won't have to constantly do manual labor anymore. We can actually get a real job. We can work in an office. We can get paid by something beyond entry-level employment. And if we're going to be buying a lot of books, trying to learn all about the occult, you're darn right we're going to want a good job for that. So let's get working on studying erudition. Study the world. Once this turns, it has now become dread, and dread will be dealt with. We are going to dream on this dread. I remember that I was different, but I can't yet remember how. Dread can be quelled with the correct resource. We don't know. We don't have a contentment to just deal with that right now. I thought that we would be able to dream on it by just using funds, but clearly I am a little inexperienced or a little bit out of practice. So instead, what we're going to do is just dream on a tincture of opium. We're going to quickly buy this because we're in a crisis here. We're suffering from dread, and we're about to suffer from 2 dreads. 3 dreads will kill us. That will literally be the end of our game and start us on the path of becoming the ghoul or somebody that's not the aspirant, which could be fun and would have to be covered in a future video, but we will do what we can to prevent that from happening. So, as I was saying, in times of a special crisis, I might visit a discreet pharmacist to purchase a tincture of opium and make my dreams sweet. But only in times of a special crisis. I don't think we want to mess around with opiates as a solution to our problem. This is a very slippery slope, as we know, by drug addiction. So it's an expensive and risky way to gain contentment. I'm sure it feels good. All we need is some contentment to stave off the dread. Well, let's buy that opium. And in 30 seconds it will be done. Didn't take us that long to do the drug, and that will hopefully have us out of this before the second dread is pulled. Got it. Pause. We purchased a tincture of opium. Oh, that deep peace. But I should not do this again. Alright, it did make us content. It also gave us an event. Anytime we're going to get deep involved in drugs, something is going to appear. And what we got is in our mind, we found the place behind desire. Is there something to be learned from the satisfaction of desire? We indulged in something that felt good for us, and we have to meditate on what that sensation feels like. So, with contentment and dread together, these two are the opposites. As you see, they almost are the same picture looking at each other. And what we want to do is dream on our dread and use reminder of contentment. We're going to clear our mind. I remember that I was different before. And there we go. That will get rid of that second dread and will hopefully prevent us from dying. Alright, we also finished our day job. In the middle of all of this drama, we've also been punching a clock and going to entry-level employment. Whew. Well, we're tired after that. There's our vitality. We'll just hold on to that, because we might be able to spend some of this to get even more healthy in the future. There's our 1 gold that we made. Nothing happened with our hireling, so we got that back. And we don't seem to have the health to do any more manual labor right now. So let's put our effort back into studying reason and erudition in order to simply become smarter. However, we could send our cultist to go explore. They could search the city, and perhaps find something. We don't have to be the one to spend our health. Isbit could be the one to look around and, you know, find us the next thing. Let's send her. We could have done this earlier, but, you know, we like to take our time. We're not rushing here. We could also simply just talk about the cult. I mean, we can head to the street corner megaphone style with our knowledge of the lantern and the Watchman and just start shouting at random people as they walk by. And that in typical cult leader fashion. Someone's about to stop and go like, "Wow, what are you talking about?" And we could actually meet a real person. Is this sketch? Absolutely. It's going to generate notoriety and mystique if we just take it to the streets, if you will. But some of that's falling off. We're starting to fade into obscurity here. I think we can risk it by approaching strangers and speaking of esoteric matters. So we're going to be talking publicly about the invisible arts. Going to draw attention, but perhaps that's what I want. I do want it. More trembling in the air. This is the fascination. An event appeared that said that if we were suffering from fascination, just like dread, it would start to take us. We don't have to worry about that right now. Ooh, another hireling was found. Ooh, this time a fortune teller. An excellent lantern aspect character, but a real NPC. Someone else we could hire if we wanted to. I found someone who I might pay to enact regrettable necessities. Excuse me. We still aren't interested in just hiring random people. We want our money to be spent on upkeep and in buying books. So it's like, it's nice to meet you, fortune teller. Once again, we're going to have to pass. We want to meet a special someone, not just some random fortune teller peddling their grift at a bar. Well, we've read whatever's at hand, so we did it again. The words contain knowledge, and we get our reason back, and we got our second erudition. Notice how our erudition was about to expire. We're starting to forget from the last time we did our studying, but we have just enough time to act on both of these and begin to become actually more reasonable, more smarter, more smart-like. So I've picked up odd facts here and there. If I spend time studying what I've learned, I could increase my reason. Yes, this was our goal a long time ago. So let's become smarter. With our health returning, we're able to get right back into our day job. Begin the Arms of Bronze. As you see, we stopped despair in its tracks with a little bit of opium, and we are in much better shape now. Fascination has not been a problem. Now, what happened with the place behind desire? This is what happened when we took that opium. This is something like enlightenment. A glimmering. Interesting. So this is something that we can use to improve our passion. And this could be the hard pivot that we're going to take as soon as we get out of studying our reason. We can actually become a more passionate individual too. What is glimmering? So my emotions run higher than usual. And that's natural to happen after taking a bunch of opium in order to prevent our mind from succumbing to despair. There are things I'll never understand, and those things will always be precious. But just now, I'm closer to them. Yes. We now have our next goal of becoming a more passionate individual. Alright, our health is back. So, our mind was cleared. It worked. The sun still moves. The wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clue. And after we go through any form of ordeal like that, what's left? A little bit of fleeting reminiscence. A mystery card. Actually looks like we met someone and it's going to require our passion. If we don't have passion, we don't actually get to know an acquaintance. Like, when we meet someone in the street, we have to show them our passionate side in order to compel them to join our cult and learn more about what we're trying to do here. So it pulled our passion right in. We were just simply swept up in it, and it is going to generate mystique. Speaking of generating mystique, the wrong kind of attention has now happened. The city is rife with journalists and detectives and other meddlers. How long will they leave me in peace? The more I'm walking around shouting about the lantern, the more that these folks are going to appear and try to make our lives miserable. So in 7 seconds, an adversary will appear, and unfortunately, he might come into play and immediately grab the little second left of our notoriety. Such is luck. You found us, you know of us. I still don't think you're going to have enough to build a case. We have a 2-person cult hanging out in some guy's bedroom, talking about the lantern that we know almost nothing about. I don't think you have enough to throw us in jail. Alright. The fascination situation was solved, giving us more fleeting reminiscence, and the dread is just continuing along until we are able to get another contentment. Do we do more opium to get that second contentment, or do we believe that this will just fall off on its own? I'm not quite sure how despair works. I have a feeling that we actually need to go get contentment to make that happen. That's going to cost us money, though. I don't want to get into drug addiction, but I feel like I have no choice. We begrudgingly buy some more opium, and we are not proud of that. And of course, the copper found that 4 seconds of notoriety that we have left and will begin to meddle in our affairs. Yes, have fun with that. Oh, Ispit's back. She's like, we didn't do anything with that, but I met someone. You want to go back out and try to find someone again for us? Find somebody that, you know, isn't, doesn't cost money? Can you get somebody for free? Can you make a friend for us, please? That's all I'm asking of her. We have exercised the mind. My mind, the library. I've gained reason. But it'll be more difficult to gain reason next time. So we've gotten our skill in scholarship. We're flush with clever quotations. And if we use this with some more lessons learned, we can get a third reason. That's a situation for another day. I would say that we can be content that we have become a better scholar. We have started our cult. And we have done what we can to stave off the dread. Unfortunately, there are some new threats looming on the horizon that we will be dealing with in the next video as we continue our pursuit of studying and learning of the Mansis and the Watchman. Thank you all for watching this video. My apologies for anything that I mispronounced. If anybody knows the game a little bit better than me, leave a comment, any advice you have, but we will continue likely tomorrow with more Cultist Simulator content. Good night.